going on, Slim? What is going on? Yeah. I posted the updates, Stacy, just a little while ago. Posted a short. Man, this system's really just, it never trended west. It continued to collapse, and it looks like it's going to be an offshore system. There's some interesting stuff going on with the short range models wanting the storm to actually be closer to the coast and bring more into kind of the Baltimore, the New York City area, but the globals don't see that happening. We have some interesting stuff going on with the HRRR. We've got, this is the end of the HRRR run, but you can already tell that this is wanting to track closer to shore than the globals. Can also see that happening in the short-range NAM 3-kilometer NAM model, where we have a much bigger snow shield into here, whereas in our globals, this is offshore. We can see that in our NAM 12K as well. That might adjust, but we'll see. We can see that in our NAM 12K as well. The NAM 12K obviously still thinks we're going to get snow through this corridor here. It's not in agreement with the other models, though. The NAM still thinks we could see snow Baltimore to New York City, that whole stretch, or DC to New York City, everywhere through here and up to Boston. But there's just not model consensus on that. Most models do want to keep the snow off the coast now. This was never really a Louisiana. I don't think it's ever been a Louisiana system. Has you getting no snow in Southwest Ohio? Yeah. I don't think, well, if you're really near the border, I think you'll get a little bit. But this system, I mean, the Euro still likes an inch or two into Southwest Ohio, but not much. It's really interesting to see what's happening with all of these models and the way they separate the snow out here. Where you have a band of snow coming through here, you go over Appalachia, and then suddenly the band of snow is to the south. And you would think that this would continue, but it doesn't. It comes down here because it falls apart over the mountains, and then it regains its energy out here. The NAM HRRR, the short-range model, the short-range models think that this isn't going to happen, this big jump. They kind of think it's going to maintain like this and put snow into these areas. But I don't see any agreement with that on the globals. So it's a very weird system to forecast. Very, very weird system to forecast. I'm drinking pre-workout because I'm tired. And what better to wake you up than literal pre-workout? It's also really tasty. Asha, I appreciate you. Brittany Shane. Hey, you guys. What's going on? So yeah, man, this storm, I mean, we can see it. What were we looking at on Saturday, right? This is what we were looking at on Saturday. Massive nor'easter. Massive nor'easter. 48 hours later, where does the Euro put that snow? These models really did a bad job. Euro within 5 days usually can get pretty close. Look at that. This system up here is compressing the snow. Now, like I said, the short ranges, and I don't know if I want to. I've got to look at some things and think about how serious I want to take the short ranges. These short ranges. Here's what's going to happen on the HRRR. This is going to bring it up the coast and going to put a little bit of snow into the coast here, into Jersey and maybe into Philly, New York City and stuff. And you can see it happening on the NAM as well. The NAM keeps that snow into this corridor from DC really to Boston, inland. So the short ranges actually keep the system farther west, which is weird. But I don't know if the system is going to move farther west, but what I do think the NAM is seeing better is you're not going to have a super compressed line of snow like the Euro sees, like that. I do think we're going to have kind of some more snow out here. This is going to be lighter, but I think we're going to get some more snow out here. We can look at our upper air dynamics. I'll get to questions in a second, guys. And you can see with the NAM, there's a lot of energy here. There's a lot of stuff happening out here. And to me, saying that there's going to be no moisture falling through here, you know, I'm not completely sold on that yet. We can kind of see how the Euro does this too, and the Euro sees the same thing on our vorticity map. The Euro has a decent amount of energy and potential moisture content through here, and it still wants the snow to be compressed right into here. So I'm not so sure. Now, this upper piece of energy, and this is what I talked about, did dig in a little bit farther to the east. Originally, this wanted to dig in like this, which is what would have, you know, really given us a big nor'easter. It's digging in a little bit far to the east, but it still looks like, based on the vorticity mapping, that we could get snow through this corridor. It just doesn't match up well in my brain with our precipitation, with our future radar composite reflectivity, whatever you want to call it. That we're going to have this significantly of compressed snow for, right here in the Euro. When we have a lot of energy up here to the north and to the west of the system as well. It looks like the NAM may get that better, and we may have a bigger snow shield like this. But I still think it'll be light snow inland, but I think we're going to have a bigger snow shield there. Let me see something here, guys. Charlotte's looking like you actually might get some snow, though. That's good. But you can see what people worried about their winter ending. You can see what happens down the road here on the Euro. Big Arctic blast again for the east. Potential snowstorm in the east again. Another trough. The Euro 12Z, guys, just keeps throwing cold air into the east. One system after another, and then it has a major trough coming in out here that would be sweeping across the country. Like I said, the groundhog was right. The groundhog, I believe, was right based on our setup, and we're, you know, I still don't think this is the last chance we're gonna get here. We have had 3 good chances for a big nor'easter this year, 3, and all 3 of them, as we got into the 48, 72 hour time frame, the snow collapsed to the south, and a zonal flow kind of took control of the models, and they got pushed off. All 3 of them, not even one of them, ended up happening. Look how close this is so close to a massive nor'easter. Now, again, the NAM, like I said, the short range models still think it's possible. So we'll see, but the Euro within this time frame is pretty good. But you can see out here, we want continued troughing out east. And then this would be a major snowstorm. This is way far out. Take this with a huge grain of salt, but this would be a major snowstorm right here for a big portion of the country, and this cold air would be sweeping back east again. This would be significant for everyone. But we're not going to look out that far. All right, I'm going to get to chat. Let's look at some of our latest snow. We'll look at our national blend right now. We'll look at our Euro. We'll look at our Euro right now, actually. What's the latest from our Euro? I do think the one area it's getting wrong is I don't expect major snow through here anymore. We've just seen the system collapse. But I do think there's going to be some snow through here. I think the NAM's correct that there's going to be some moisture content and energy available in this little empty hole of snow that the European shows there. So we'll watch that. Let me zoom in for you guys so you can see this a little better. There we go. All right. 1 second, guys. I just want you to see this better. I'm just getting it set up. Okay. Yep. Raleigh, a 1 to 3 day still looks possible for you guys. Did some of the snow go away from Middle Tennessee? They're saying 1 to 2 inches. Snow has just gone away for everyone. Not only has the system moved and shifted off the coast out in the mid-Atlantic, but we've seen, I mean, the only area that's the snow totals have remained to look high is through here, really. Even the areas of Virginia that looked like they were going to be big, the totals have gone. I mean, the totals have gone down everywhere except for kind of like in here. It just has to do with that piece of energy, how significant it's diving down, the cold air it's feeding into the system, and where it entered the states from the north. Appreciate the follows, appreciate the subs, guys. It's so sad I missed everyone. I know. Well, we'll see. I mean, listen, like I said, there's a couple short ranges that still think this thing is riding up the coast. I'm not going to put a ton of, I'm not going to put a ton behind that, but, there's still a chance we see our 00Zs come out tonight. And maybe they hop on board the NAM, which would actually put a little more, which would actually put some snow through the mid-Atlantic coastal region. So, do you think Jersey will get another snow chance? I mean, yeah, the last time you guys asked me, I said yes, and this is your chance here. And this is considered a chance, although even it might miss you. This was a really good chance for snow. Yes, I do think there's going to be another chance, potentially even before February ends, but I think in March as well. We just have too good of a pattern for cold air out east. Continuing. Board. Kaysen, I appreciate you. Remember, I mean, some of the biggest snowstorms in history have happened in March out here. Like 50% of the biggest snows ever in the east, including in the mid-Atlantic and New England coastal region, have happened in March. So not saying that we're going to have a massive snowstorm that gives everyone snow out here in March, but it's literally... That's when a lot of them have happened because we get so much more moisture availability and so much more heat coming off of the Gulf. And if you get, all you need is one little kind of burst of cold air, and it can really feed these storms in March. So we'll be watching that. We do, we know what's going on really quickly. We know what's going on with our stratospheric polar vortex. I haven't looked at that in a little bit. Let's go back up here, Northern Hemisphere. And remember, guys, I always talk about this is a lagging event. So you see surface cold air a little bit after. So we can see this thing still wanting to sink over the next few days. And we're going to see some surface cold air that's going to move down here after. And then it moves up, and then you see a really significant, actually, stratospheric heating event happening in Canada there. Let's look at our anomalies. What do our anomalies look like right now? 2 vortices. See, as we move forward here. So this what's going on right here is going to affect us in March with cold air. Well, I haven't taken a look at the teleconnections today. Let's see if we have any updates on that. Yep, this is what I kind of expected. This trend back down south as we get into March. That's potentially pointing towards cold air returning back in March. We can look at our NAO. NAO, similar type of trend. You can see the deterministic here. Similar type of trend, at least from the deterministic here. If we go into GFS, European ensemble, European deterministic, it's kind of got a wobble here. CMC, same thing with our same thing with our NAO. Kind of a downward trend here. This would be associated with cold air and winter storms out east in March. Same with our AO. This is a weakening polar jet as we push into March 1st and 2nd. What does that mean? Cold air. And where's that cold air going to sit? Well, if our NAO goes negative, like a lot of these models think, that cold air is going to sink back into the east. So it's just a favorable pattern once again for the east to see some snow and stuff back in March. So I don't think it's our last shot at snow in the Mid-Atlantic or for you folks in New England or maybe even in the Southeast. We'll see though. Thomas Ham 25. I appreciate you. SNAFU and board. I appreciate you guys. Let's get back on here in 1 second. We could look at our where is it? Let's see. We can look at what our CFS wants to do. This is an experimental model that attempts to see very, very far into the future. It doesn't do a terrible job sometimes. You guys want to see what this model is showing here. Another chance for snow out there in the Northeast, New England. Another shot there. You know, this shows major nor'easter the 28th of February. Not impossible. Not impossible based on the teleconnections we were just looking at. That if that sinks a little bit quicker. Again, we're expecting troughing to continue to push down into the east. We might get a tiny bit of warm up, like I said, end of February, but then it's going to get cold again. So not surprised to see that this model trying to throw a bunch of snow back into the east. And then look, it has snow down in the south as well. I'm just not surprised because it looks like we're going to get put. This is kind of the cold air, that's the surface cold air that's going to be lagging behind from our stratospheric polar vortex kind of split and major stretch we had. Do you guys see these storms after storm after storm after storm out east on this experimental model? Now, it's not going to play out like this, right? It's not going to play out exactly like this, but just showing you the potential that we have moving forward still. And you can see our Euro. You can just watch the isobar lines here. Our baroclinic zone, which is here, the split between the freezing air and the warmer air. And you can watch this just ride storms into the east. Look at this. This is our jet stream. This is what we call a positive PNA, ridging out west, cold air in the east. This is going to continue to give us opportunities out here, probably for another month. So, yep, none to panic about. If you're out there, if you're out east and you think that this is your last chance at snow, you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to what I've been covering in all my lives. Some years, last year we had a bunch of ridging. That happened in late February and March out east, and we kind of did have a winter cut off a little bit early, but it's not looking like that this year at all. Not at all. Pittsburgh snow, tell me we don't get robbed again. Well, you're probably going to get robbed again. So, but you guys are. It's not just you guys getting robbed. I know you think you're the only one missing out on snow. Everyone out here. I mean, New York City's way underperformed this year. Philly's barely gotten any. Pittsburgh's barely gotten any. You've done pretty good down here. These areas have barely gotten any. I mean, Minneapolis, that averages like 50 inches of snow a year, has gotten like 8. There's plenty of places that are way underperforming. Trust me, it's not just Pittsburgh. Here's our latest Euro. This is the first storm that moves through. It does think there's going to be, over the next week, there's going to be some more opportunities for snow into Pittsburgh, with some of the storms behind moving in. Let me put this back here so you guys can see that. There we go. Is DC Baltimore still expecting to get snow? Yeah. Acculturation. Okay, I don't know how to say that. Acculturation. Yes. So you said we went from 12 to 18. You didn't go from 12 to 18. The weather apps told you were going to get 12 to 18. 5, 6, 7 days out when they have no idea what's actually going to happen. They just lie to people. So, I posted my video today, and I talked about in a video 2 days ago, I said there's still a chance that this storm wobbles off the coast and it misses everyone. I didn't want that to happen, but unfortunately, it's looking like it might. Like I said, the NAM still brings snow into here. This big pocket, the NAM short range, still brings snow in here. So does the HRRR. That's really frustrating to have such a big discrepancy between the global and the short ranges. This wide of a discrepancy. But even if we did get snow through here on the NAM, it would be lighter. Likely, it just shows a bigger snow show out here. It would be lighter. It wouldn't be anything major. So let's go Great Lakes. Not much for Detroit here in the next week. Yeah. The NAM. Here's kind of how the NAM sees it. Middle Tennessee is still thinking like 1, 2. I mean, Nashville's still thinking 1 to 3 is possible. Here's how the NAM sees it. Keeps the snow much farther to the north. I mean, it kind of puts snow from Boston through New York City, Philly, all the way through Baltimore and DC. Not a lot, but it actually does keep snow there. Whereas, I mean, the Euro, there's no snow anywhere here on the Euro. There's no snow anywhere here on the Euro. Right? That's a pretty annoying discrepancy to happen when we're not too far away from the storm. I think it's going to end up being a combination of the Euro and NAM. I do think we are going to get some snow a little bit of snow into Jersey. I do think we're going to get a little bit more into central Maryland and Delaware, and up towards northern Virginia. I do think we're going to get some through there. Not a bunch, but the Euro just deleting all of this snow right here, just saying 0. I think, I don't know. I think there's enough energy up there to put some snow on the ground. Monica, I appreciate you. My eye is twitching. Is my eye twitching from this pre-workout? I feel like it probably is, but I'm going to drink more. I don't care. Yeah, the pink is a foot or more. Look at the euro, though, guys. Horrible, horrible discrepancy. Terrible to see this much disagreement right before a storm moves through. I mean, we're 50, 60 hours out, so things can change still. But, you know, this is a Wednesday, Thursday event. Huge fan. Any chance for a shift north for Cincy? Yeah, there still is. I mean, we can go over to the Ohio Valley, and what you're looking at here is the euro, but look at the NAM. I think the NAM actually puts more snow up through Cincy. They both got about 1 to 3. We can take a look at some of these different models, what they're thinking. Yeah, I mean, the Canadian puts a little bit more. The GFS thinks 3 to 4 through Cincy. The GFS is much more bullish on all of this snow here. I mean, the GFS thinks almost 6 inches in the Nashville, 5 inches into like Middle Tennessee. The GFS is still going pretty heavy on this stuff. But it also, you know, look what it does out here. It really pulls this stuff out of here as well. It really compresses the snow. Just don't think the snow is going to be this compressed. I think we're going to see a little bit more snow up in here. Not heavy snow, but I do think we're going to see some more up there. Yeah, the temps are going to be crazy. The temps are going to be crazy. That is true. Let's look at these temperatures, and we're gonna break records in some areas with the temperatures behind this. Like we'll break some records. Surface temp for the date, not all time, but for the date, I think we're gonna break some records. Here's our temperature anomalies moving in after this thing. So, you know, just so you guys know. What you're looking at here are temperatures 40 to 50 degrees below average. 40 to 50 degrees lower than they should be for this time of year in here. I mean, wind chills through this region, you know, approaching negative 20, negative 30, and even below. And that cold air is going to shift off into the east. You can see it moving to the Ohio Valley, and then down into Texas. I mean, look at down here. We could see some ridiculous temperatures down here as well. This green is very below average as well. This is all very cold air as well. If you want to actually look at like temperature-wise, you know, all of this kind of greenish. I don't even know what color you'd call this, but this is all below zero actual temp. So that's not even including wind chill. So and then your below freezing line is literally this. It's the entire country. That's your below freezing line. So pretty dang cold. Really like through there. Pretty dang cold. I can actually show you. Let me show you these wind chills, guys, really quick, and I'll get back to answering questions just because they're really impressive for this time of year. So you understand what we're talking about when we say like, we could see records broken. Let's really quick wind chills. Here we go. This is the latest here. Wind chills potentially in the negatives down into Dallas. We've got negative wind chills through northern Texas right here. We've got negative wind chills all through as far like this whole southern. All of this is negative wind chills. That's how far down the negative wind chills get. You could see the freezing line again with our wind chills. This is the freezing line. That's just crazy. For mid to late February. Obviously up here, I mean, this is negative, anywhere from negative 20 to negative 40 degrees is possible in here with wind chill. Negative 20 to negative 40 degrees in that entire area. These are some insane temps. It's going to shift off east. You can see what's happening here. I mean, we have Tampa with wind chills down into 32 degrees. You've got temps, wind chill temps in the 40s down in Miami, Florida. So this is some cold stuff. There's some looks that we may see an even colder event though. This right here, we need to watch this trough right here that happens at the end of this, because if this thing moves in any further to the west, this big troughing event here, out towards the, the start of March. Actually, this is pretty far out, but these things can see big troughs pretty far out. This would be another big story to start off March. If this thing came in farther to the west, that would potentially help with snow out east again as well. So anyways, let's get back in here. I'll show you guys the national blend just so you know all these places have a chance of still seeing snow. Obviously, you guys know the national blend shows a blend of all of the models. So every single kind of forecast, it averages them out for us so we can see, like, it's a pretty good to look at, and it's going to be conservative as well, so it's not going to slam a bunch of snow anywhere. Norfolk, Virginia. Let me see something. Well, depends what model we look at this point because there's so much disagreement. I'll quickly show you what our Euro thinks for that area. I'll quickly show you that. Let's go into Mid-Atlantic. So what do you guys like right down here by Virginia Beach? 5 to 6, 5 to 7. Although, I don't know. I think this area is going to overperform if you ask me. I think we're going to see a lot more snow through this region right here specifically. I think these numbers are too low. I do. I think, and usually I like to just agree with the Euro, right? No, not in that case. We're not agreeing with it. I think the GFS is actually doing this better. I think we could see a lot more. I think we could see this 8 inches to a foot through here, actually. I think the Euro's underdoing it. I do. I don't know if the Euro's underdoing it, but I do have a hunch. I do have a hunch. I think the NAM's overdoing it. I think the Euro's underdoing it. Weirdly, I think the GFS has this location pretty right. But we're going to have our storm beginning to negatively tilt the low right off the coast here. We have extremely cold air from another system to the north that's going to be just blowing surface cold air down into here. So we can get some pretty good snow ratio. And this low is going to be deepening very quickly. It's kind of going to be bombing out as it moves up the coast. So I'd expect some impressive totals through this area. And the Euro is just pretending like none of that is happening around here. As you can see, it's compressing snow. I don't know. There's too much going on. There's too much going on in this time frame right here for me to think that we're only going to have 3 to 5 through this region right here. I think this is going to be more. What happened to Maryland? What do you mean what happened to Maryland? What happened to Northern Virginia? What happened to Delaware? What happened to Jersey? What happened to PA? What happened to Connecticut? What happened to Rhode Island? What happened to Massachusetts? All these places had snow originally. All of them. These models have just deleted it. Like I said, the short ranges still like snow through a lot of these areas. Interestingly enough, the NAM 3K. This is the end of the NAM 3K run, but I can tell you what the NAM 3K is doing is it's pulling snow up like this. So it's still going to put some snow kind of through this region here along the coast. And then obviously I showed you what our NAM 12K is doing. So we'll see if there's anything to that. Let me see what the NAM 12K is doing. I'm nervous about taking the NAM 12K though because it's favored northern tracks a bunch this year that have ended up not being so great. It's supposed to be a good model in this time frame, and it hasn't done great this year, but it doesn't mean it won't do great on this storm. So you still have to consider it. What's up, Fade? Best estimate for coastal central New Jersey. Yeah, I mean, it's an all or nothing for coastal central New Jersey. It's an all or nothing. You're either going to get nothing or you're probably going to see you're going to get more than expected. Our Euro shows nothing and our NAM shows a little bit. So I think we're going to get kind of an average of these two. So although this says 2 to 4 through here, I think central coastal New Jersey is going to get some snow, but it's not going to be a lot. It's not going to be a lot. A couple inches, few inches maybe. But other than the NAM, the short range models are still giving hope to snow through this area. Short range models still give hope, but all the globals have just completely pulled away from this. I think there's going to be light snow through this area though. Unfortunately. Do you think that CMC long range nor'easter on February 28th has potential? Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it has potential. Yeah, we're going to have the right type of pattern for it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you guys, our experimental model. Listen, this model has seen things before pretty far out that have actually wound up being pretty accurate. It's kind of a model that's in the works right now, but it has seen some pretty impressive things out before, and this is what it wants, which is hilarious to me. This would be gigantic. This would be like the 90. This would be like the 93 storm, but the odds of this happening are pretty low right now because it's too far out. So, too far out. We'll talk about it when it gets closer. Our Euro sees another system that wants to maybe move up the coast. This would be that time frame. Our Euro sees this a little bit differently. Some snow here, a little bit farther north. Not really a nor'easter. What does our GFS see? Our GFS 18Z is loading. Do we have that out at that time frame yet? Let's see. Kind of. Let's see what our GFS does here. It does have this trough digging at that same time frame as well. Here's our trough. Here's our low. So we've got a pretty big kind of Arctic blast that wants to happen out there at the end of February. So we'll have to watch this time frame between February 26th and March 1st to see what happens with this cold air and with this system. So, well, let me make sure my sound's good. 1 second. Good news, he's alive. Good news. My son is in fact okay. Whoa, OJ with the Galaxy. OJ, I appreciate you. Kimber, Michael, Brooklyn. Kimber, Little, Monica. Board. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate that, OJ. I hate Pittsburgh. I do some business out in Pittsburgh, and I visited it. Well, I just started to do some business out of Pittsburgh, and I visited it for the first time a few weeks ago. When I tell you I was underwhelmed, that's not even a statement for it. I thought Pittsburgh was like Philly. I thought it was like a big city, and it's like an eighth the size of Philly. I want to say it's the size of like a neighborhood in Philly. Like it's so small. It's cool. It's cool though. It's like I didn't realize how hilly it's like in mountains almost, like big hills. But I didn't realize like the terrain and geography of Pittsburgh is actually dope. But the city itself, very underwhelming. Although it was also like 10 degrees and cloudy the entire time I was there, and there was no one outside. I feel like it's probably a better time when it warms up. I feel like it's probably a much better time. I'll figure that out this summer. I think Tidewater, Virginia will get all the snow. Glad your son is okay. Yeah, me too. Is there a good chance Philly gets 3 to 4? There's still a chance. I wouldn't call it a good chance anymore. These models are compressing all that snow off the shore. This is the third time this has happened this year, where you have like 4 or 5 days out. Philly to New York City looks like it's going to get, or Philly to New York City, that 95 quarter there looks like it's going to get a foot of snow and ends up getting an inch. I don't even want to hear people down in DC and Baltimore complaining, because you guys got 2 snowstorms that dropped over 5 inches that Philly got nothing from this season. Baltimore and DC have had 2 storms that literally were supposed to move up the coast, and they just went over Maryland and Delaware and straight off the coast, and they just left everyone up here hanging. I don't want to hear it from you guys. And you're probably going to end up getting more. If I do think there's going to be a little bit of snow that moves up into Maryland and Delaware too. I think that, like I said, that snow shield's going to expand. Charlotte's not looking too bad right now. What's going on, Nick? What up? What up? Coming straight out of Central Kentucky. I don't. I hope you're above water. Terrible flooding in Kentucky. Yeah. Let's quickly. Speaking of the Carolinas, North Carolina. North Carolina, come on and raise it. That's a good song. Here's our name. Thinks about an inch into Charlotte. Euro thinks about an inch into Charlotte. GFS thinks about an inch or two into Charlotte. I think we can look at our HRRR for Charlotte as well. Watch this. Our HRRR, it always does this. It doesn't understand how storms work. It'll fill in some snow in that area. NAM 3K. It thinks about an inch or two in a Charlotte. There's a lot of agreement on an inch or two, so. But there's going to be mixing too. So even though they say an inch or two, that could just end up being sleet, freezing rain. Someone asked about Michigan ice. Let me move up here. Let's go to our Fram. Freezing rain. Let's see. Euro. Let's see. Do we see any ice up here? Not much. Southern. That's very far out though. There's no ice within. Yeah, there's no ice anywhere within a forecastable range. So there's I don't think there's anything to worry about up there in Michigan. I do not think so. Let's go back here. One second, guys. We're all good here, but our river, but the Ohio River, Green River Lake has a flood warning right now. Yeah, I know there's still a bunch of flooding, and flash flooding and flooding can occur well after a storm passes because water has nowhere to go and canals, streams start filling up. Michael, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Michael. OJ, are you in here? OJ, did you have a question? Did I see Kansas? Yeah, you can see out here. I'm kind of over Kansas here. Let's go to the Rockies region so we can see. Or let's go south central. I think that'll be the best. I may not stream later. I've got to get stuff done for work. I go back to work tomorrow. And I'm behind on a bunch of stuff. So I think I'm actually going to have to work on that. Unfortunately. CMC says 16 inches in Baltimore on the 1st of March. I wouldn't hold your breath on the CMC 2 weeks out. I mean, the Euro just had a terrible forecast 4 days out. And the Euro's 20 times better than the CMC. And that's the CMC 2 weeks out. But there's a favorable pattern for snow, more winter storms in the east through the end of February and March. So I'm not worried about getting more snow out east. It's where's it going to go, you know? Ice on the NAM for North Carolina is crazy, is it? Some pretty bad stuff out here, yeah. Southeastern. Over a half inch. That's the 12K. What's our 3K see? Am I in the 3K? I might be in the 3K right now. This is the 12K. That's pretty bad, yeah. About a half inch for this entire region. These people need to prepare for that. This would not be good. Get some extra water in your house. Some extra extra fuel. If you use fuel to heat your house, you could be trapped inside with no power with this type of ice. What's our Euro sea with freezing rain? Yeah, even our Euro sees the potential for big ice out here. So central to coastal North Carolina needs to prep for that. Yeah, this isn't supposed to do much in Georgia other than rain. Hey, look, it's Europe. Why is it so cold in Europe right now? Someone tell me that. Why is it so cold in Europe right now? It is freezing in Europe right now. Look at this cold air. And holy crap. Here's the states this week. You guys see the freezing line? It's the cold air we're talking about. That's your freezing line. This is all freezing air. Buckle up. This pink up here is 30 degrees or below 0 or more. Buckle up, cowboys and cowgirls. Oof. All right, sorry, let's get back here. Hi, Connor. Just got power back today from storm in Alabama. No power for 2 days. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, our power went out for 6-7 hours yesterday from wind up here north of Philly. I was actually streaming, and that's if you guys saw me just disappear from stream yesterday, I didn't just hang up on you guys without saying bye. My power went out. Glad you got power back, Jen. Yeah, there were some. I mean, it was probably from that main squall line that went through Alabama. That thing had crazy downdrafts, derecho type winds with it. Tons of power was knocked out down there in the southeast, in Mississippi and Alabama. Thoughts on St. Louis? I haven't really. I think, what did I say today? 3 to 5 in my video. I still think that's a pretty good guess. You could overperform though, because your air is going to be so cold. You can get a better snow ratio. Appreciate it, Jen. Due to the high winds, yeah. Not supposed to get. Yeah, I mean, we these models have kind of weakened snow through this region, so we might not see any down into Alabama. What's our NAM seeing? None. I want to look at the short range though. The NAM 3K has been doing better. Yeah, most of the snow wants to stay just north of these borders. We might get a little dusting through northern Alabama, but not expect it to be much. Crazy enough to say, though, I don't think it looks like we're going to have more chances for snow in the southeast, pushing into late February and March. We have some major troughing that wants to dig back down into the southeast, so it's going to be an extended winter for the southeast as well. How much snow are we actually going to get in Virginia Beach? Yeah, you know, the Euro thinks about 7. I think you have a good chance of overperforming and approaching 10 inches to a foot in Virginia Beach. It's close. There's a tight snow line, but I actually weirdly, and I don't usually like going with the GFS more, but I think the Euro's compressing the snow a little bit too much. I could be wrong, but I've seen this happen before where it compresses the snow too much and your snow shield's actually much bigger. I think this might even be up here. So I don't think an overperformance of 10 inches to 12 inches is crazy to say for Virginia Beach. Jen, I appreciate that. Thank you, Jen. Winter, what's going on? You think north of Durham, North Carolina will overperform? Yeah, again, this is the area that we're watching for an overperformance through here. So we could see that extend it through here. We're watching this area for a potential overperformance of snow. Our low pressure is going to begin to kind of what we call bomb out, deepen very quickly as it kind of negatively tilts and steers up to the northeast. And you're going to get a ton of convection forming really quickly here as it kind of slows down and then turns up the coast, or it's really turning up like this. So, you know, that turn is going to stall some snow and it's going to be dumping here for a little bit longer. So that's the area where we could see big snow. Jen, I appreciate that. Thank you, Jen. Smile, I appreciate it. Sleen, I was there. The winds were bad, yeah. I'm so mad at the forecast right now for Raleigh on Wednesday. Every model is contradictory. I know, it's bad. Especially the short. Sometimes you have a bunch of contradictory models from the short range, like within the short ranges and within the globals. But we have just terrible contradiction right now. The short ranges all showing one thing and the global all leaning in the opposite direction, which is weird. North Jersey always gets disappointed. I mean, again, everyone thinks that their area's getting the most disappointed. Philly's had a terrible year. Rhode Island, parts of Connecticut have had a terrible year. Pittsburgh's had a terrible year. Minneapolis has had a terrible year. Chicago's has had a pretty weak year. A lot of places. I mean, yeah, I don't know. What does Philly have this year? Like 5 inches total? They average 16 to 18 a year. So it's not just North Jersey. New York City's underperforming, of course. It's a big area. A big area through here of underperformances right through here. And then, yeah, I mean, it really extends out here and in here. Wisconsin and Minnesota have seen some pretty bad snow. The Northern Plains have seen some pretty bad snow this year. TFX on Doris, but some places have overperformed, and I think Kentucky's going to end up, Baltimore, DC are going to end up overperforming this year. Kentucky's probably going to overperform this year. This is going to be some pretty big snow for the kind of plains, southwestern Midwest. We'll see how their year ends up. New England is doing great with snow. Inland New England has had a great year with snow. From Boston up. When will Detroit see more snow? We'll have to see. There's some snow pretty far out in the Euros forecast. As we push into the end of February, it wants a big snow through here for Detroit and inland New England. It's too far out though. We got to wait a little bit longer on that. Michael, I appreciate that. Michael, thank you for the sub. Shout out, Michael. I appreciate that. KG and Ember with the goat. The dam has been caving to the euro a little bit. Yep. Last night the NAM still showed a classic nor'easter. I know. Yep, it did. Raleigh gets the most disappointed. We are always on the line. No. Charlotte is always the worst in North Carolina. Raleigh, you've already got snow this year. Charlotte's got none. They got a little dusting. Raleigh, what did you get? You got a few inches this year already, didn't you? Charlotte's. We've had snow in northern, eastern, and western North Carolina and central, just not in that south central region of Charlotte Metro. Charlotte needs to get some. It's been pretty bad for. I mean, coastal North Carolina had a nice snowstorm. Wow, great, literally missing all of Jersey. Well, again, the short range models actually bring the snow closer to the coast. I mean, look at this. It's still a possibility that our NAM's correct on this. The NAM's been favoring northern tracks all year, and it hasn't done a great job at that. But sometimes it gets it right. So we're seeing this is why the national blend, the HRRR and NAM 3 and 12K still like snow through this region. So that's why the national blend hasn't completely pushed the snow off the coast, because it still knows there's a possibility the storm does curl up a little bit quicker. So we'll watch it. Jen and Jen B, Jen N. I appreciate you guys. Will Long Island have at least one more storm this? I mean, yeah, there's going to be, like I said, there's a setup for more snow through across the east. We have a cold wintry pattern moving ahead still. We might have, I mean, the troughing, it looks like we're going back into a negative NAO, positive PNA look in the beginning of March, which would favor snow out east again. So I think we'll have some more chances. I'm pretty positive of it, actually. Cincy's looking like it's in the 1 to 3 range. Most models have pulled a little bit of snow out of Cincy. I'm like 20 minutes from Chattanooga. We rarely get snow. Yeah, I mean, let me pull this out. 1 second, guys. 1 second. The problem with Eastern Tennessee is, well, let me do this. You guys get that rain shadow effect. So here's your guys' issue. We've got some mountains. Correct me if I'm wrong. Out here, we've got Appalachia, Smokies, all the good stuff through here. When you get storms, and your storms typically, your storms typically come from the west. When these come through, you get a lot of that moisture that drains out through here, drains out to the mountains, and then there's nothing left here. And then once it gets up into Appalachia and the Smokies, that air starts to rise again as it pushes up against the mountains, and then you get a bunch more snow through here. So the snow can really, the moisture funnels out into the mountains, and then it recoups. You get some serious updrafts in here, and the storm gets its energy back, and then it starts to fall again in Appalachia. So you just get this dry area through here that really underperforms on snowfall. It's just because you're literally it is. And I couldn't think of the word yesterday, and someone said it. It is really just the rain shadow effect. So there are sometimes storms, and this is what the 93 snowstorm was, that instead of really that snow cutting across like this, because this is when you guys get less snow, when the storms come in like this. If you get a strong enough trough pushing in from back here, sometimes these storms will come down and cut up like this, and then suddenly the mountains aren't affecting your snow totals at all because this moisture is coming from the southwest, and it's not passing over any elevation, serious elevation from the southwest. So the systems that come up from your southwest have a 20 times better chance of putting good snow, just good precipitation in general through that area to Chattanooga and up to the northeast. But the storms that push in from your northwest are just going to get kind of choked out from elevation here, and you're going to get kind of a more dry event through there. Jen, I appreciate the sub. Thank you, Jen. Seriously, Jen B, I appreciate that. Yep. Yeah, someone said what happened. I thought we were supposed to get big snow through New York City. Well, what happened is our atmosphere did what it does, and it continued to change. And we saw this good snow right here get pushed offshore. Very unlucky. A lot of times these storms trend back up into the northwest, and it didn't happen this time. Again, I want to preference this by saying we do still have some models like the NAM and HRRR that actually are keeping snow a little bit farther inland, like this, and putting some snow from Philly, potentially in through Long Island and Boston even. So there's still a chance. It's just not looking as likely because these globals have really pulled away. I don't think the Europeans right, though, with how suffocated the snow is as it moves off the coast. But we've talked about that. Laura, I appreciate it. Could we expect some snow in Maryland? Central to southeastern Maryland, probably. Yeah, northwestern Maryland. It's going to be tough. Do we have anything? Let me see. Let me see what we got going on. I want this 00Z of the HRRR. We have the 18Z UK. Let's take a look at what this is doing real quick. Even though this isn't a great model, we'll look at it. Wow, wow. Yeah, see, this model is just giving no one snow anywhere out here in the east, and I don't think that's correct. We have our icon that wants pretty big snow into southeastern Virginia. Very big snow into southeastern Virginia, and potentially through a lot of areas in North Carolina as well. And then our GFS is almost unloading. I'm looking at what's happening with the Euro and GFS kind of longer range, and we are seeing this jet stream continuing to pull cold air through here. So I do think it's going to be a little bit of the same. It's going to stay pretty cold out here in March. Let me really quickly show you guys this. Here's kind of the GFS, and you can see what our jet's wanting to do, and the Euro sees this too. And this is when you get warm air through here, cold air through here. And our Euro sees kind of the same thing, a zonal flow there. We can go look at our Euro. Really wanting to continue to pull the jet and kind of split the country in two like this, cold air, warm air. And this would be a monumental storm if this were to happen at the end of the Euro run. This would be a huge snowstorm up the coast through the Midwest potentially, but this is too far out, so we're not going to take it too seriously yet. That would be insanity to start off March if the Euro's correct on that. Kimber with the Galaxy. Kimber, I appreciate that. Thank you, Kimber. Peppers. Michelle, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Kimber. All right. Still a chance it'll move. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the gifts. Thank you, thank you. You do not have to, but I appreciate it, guys. Is there snow for New York on Thursday? You know, It depends again, it depends what model you look at. A lot of times what happens is the globals disagree with each other a little bit, and the short ranges disagree a little bit with each other. But what's happening in this scenario is all the short ranges agree that more snow is going to move up, that more snow is going to be coastal, and all the globals agree that there's going to be none. So so there actually is consensus with the globals and themselves and the shorts and themselves, but those two aren't agreeing. Eastern Shore, Virginia, Maryland. Please tell me the truth on how much snow. I've seen 5 to 20 inches. Yeah, I mean, 6 to 9 is a safe guesstimate, but that's the area we're watching, especially southeastern VA, for a potential massive overperformance, because that's when we start to see this tilt in our storm. You can see it right here. I mean, I'll push down to that region so you can see. Our low gets off the coast, and our system begins to negatively tilt, and we're going to start to get a lot of energy, a lot of lift and convection allowance through here. And this is going to be very cold air being pushed in from our system to the north. So as this thing turns, it's going to slow down, and we're going to have a lot of snow building here. So this is obviously the area where we're watching for a massive overperformance potentially. Some of these models do big stuff here, especially the GFS. You can see how the GFS treats this. This would be kind of like, this would be close to 2 inches an hour of snow. And our NAM as well. Let's look at our NAM here. Future radar. Yeah, our NAM does very big things through here as well. Obviously, our NAM keeps this snow much farther. You guys can see it. Much closer to the coast. Let's go to the 18Z of the NAM. There we go. Our NAM actually trended west on this last run. You can see what it wants to do with snow through here. That's actually a trend west. Is Long Island going to get hit? Well, you want the NAM to be correct. There's still a possibility. That's why when we were looking at our national blend earlier, the national blend shows the averages of all the models. So it's pretty good for, seeing what, I can show you kind of, let me do this. Let's go to the ensembles, and I'll show you the panels, all the possibilities that are showing up in our, what should be, is usually our best snow model, which is the Euro. I'll show you what all the possibilities technically still are with the data that we have. Now, the main deterministic Euro model is the one that it thinks is the most likely. But here are basically all the possibilities. So, let me make sure I'm on my 12Z Euro. 1 second, guys. Yeah, I'm on my Euro ensemble. Okay. So, this is kind of all the possibilities right now. And I'll show you, there are some that still bring the snow pretty heavy inland. Not a ton. Most of these keep it offshore. This would potentially be some good snow for New Jersey here. Yeah, most of these, this one would be some good snow for actually New York City, Long Island, and Jersey as well. So there's still some runs that keep the snow farther and west, but most of these Euro models now are pulling this offshore. So let's go down into 26 to 25. This would potentially be good snow for Jersey. This one potentially as well. Let's see here. This is my first time looking at these panels today, at the new runs. This would potentially be good snow for Long Island as well there in Jersey. So you've still got some runs. You've still got some runs that want to keep that snow through there. It's just not that many. Let me get back here. I'll show you our national blend. Winter. Here we go. The national blend is always going to have totals that are a little bit more conservative because it also blends in models that show no snow, so it averages out. So usually the totals end up being a little bit more than what you see in the national blend. The CFS model, it's basically an experimental model. This is a model that they're working on. We would love to be able to see farther out in the future with more accuracy in the weather world. And the CFS is actively being worked on. They call it an experimental model because it's kind of one of a kind. It's the only model that can see out literally a month, over a month. It tries to predict what the weather's going to be like over a month. It's pretty good through the 150-hour time frame. But it's called some things accurately before. Obviously, this is why people are seeing this massive nor'easter on this model at the end of February. It's not impossible. We're gonna have the atmospheric setup for potentially a big snow system through the south and through the coastal, up the coast of the east. But it's just too far out to start talking about this yet, because it's an experimental model, and this is over. I mean, this is like 280 hours out, 260 hours out, so can't take it too seriously yet. Nate, Maddie, Peppers, I appreciate you. Very interesting that the National Blend erases snow out of St. Louis. What's our short range? Wow, and our short ranges are keeping it just to the south. Let's go into our HRRR. This snow is being definitely compressed under St. Louis right now. That's actually. Let me look at the actual radar right now. To me, when I look at the radar, it doesn't look like the snow is going to be that compressed. It looks like it's going to be. I think that snow line's going to be farther to the north, but that's interesting. Even all our short range models right now are compressing that snow just to the south of St. Louis. HRRR doing weird stuff there. NAM. I mean, St. Louis is like right here, right? It's hard to tell where it is in the notch. Actually, it's a little bit down to the southeast of there. So let's look. Here's our NAM short range, 3 kilometer. Still giving a chance for a 3 to 5 day, but what's good is if you're on the north side of this, you're not going to have any mixing issues. You're going to have mixing issues on the south side. That's where you get underperformances. You can get overperformances much easier on the north side of this. So, we have snow falling up here right now, and on our short ranges, it has it down here. So I think these models are putting the snow a little bit farther south here than it should be. I think we're going to actually see a little bit more up here, but that's interesting what these are doing. Let's go into. So the Euro 18Z is coming out right now, actually. Yeah, and I can already tell you the Euro 18Z agrees that the snow should be farther north, giving St. Louis a much better chance for some good snow. All right, Euro 18Z is loading. So we'll watch this. Charlotte, I mean, most are dusting to 1.5 inches, 2 inches is still where we have most of the agreement. Short range models hate snow in Charlotte. They don't want to put any snow in Charlotte. All the globals agree on basically 1 inch. And I do think 1 inch may be the most realistic outcome for Charlotte. But I personally hope Charlotte overperforms because they've seen nothing but a dusting this year. Nothing but a dusting. I don't think we have time for this to push south to ATL. But we have some interesting super amplified troughs that look like they may want to sweep down end of February or beginning of early March. So I don't think it's crazy to say that the southeast could get another shot of snow, potentially as far south as kind of central Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, late February and March. We have a very cold pattern ahead for us out east again. Maddie, Nate, Kayla, appreciate you guys. Houston's not getting anything from this storm other than maybe some rain. Jefferson County, Missouri, just south of St. Louis. Yeah, I mean, 3 to 5 is still the agreement there. We're getting the 18Z Euro loading in right now, so I'm interested to see what that does for St. Louis, since that's going to be one of the first area that loads in here. Got to wait a little bit longer. We only have 18 hours. 21. We'll let this thing load in. There we go. Yeah, Virginia Beach 6 to 9 is what most models are calling for. Again, that looks like the area that could see a major overperformance. That's where our system, our lows beginning to bomb out, and we'll have a lot of cold air being pushed in from our piece of energy from the northwest. So we could see a little bit colder air than expected in that region, and we could see a little bit more convection happening there. Matt and Cash, I appreciate you. I've seen anything from nothing to a foot of snow in Central Virginia. Yeah. I'm just along for the ride, right? It's super upsetting to me watching what could have been an incredible snow system up here for the entire coast just get collapsed the way it did. But this type of stuff happens sometimes. What are the odds if I were to predict a nor'easter blizzard? Well, and I told you what my odds were like 4 or 5 days ago. I said I still think it's a 50-50 chance. Even though all of our models, every single global showed a nor'easter, I still said I thought it was a 50-50 chance, and I'm glad because, well, you know, we picked heads and it landed on tails, obviously, because this thing compressed down to the south. At this point, I don't think a nor'easter is possible anymore. Even if the NAM's right, it wouldn't really be like a nor'easter, but I do think we're going to have a bigger snow shield out here than the Euro thinks. So there'll be a little bit more snow a little bit farther out west. But nor'easter's kind of off the table at this point, I think. From this, though, there's still going to be a shot for a big nor'easter this season. Because of the pattern we have moving forward. We're still going to have a shot for another nor'easter, I think, end of February or into March. I do. We looked at the teleconnections earlier. I can show you them again, but they're suggesting a very cold pattern out east again into March. Kimber, Lovely Shadow, Rhonda, Chef, I appreciate you guys. What's the most Cincy, Northern Kentucky could see? If you guys overperform, I think you guys could get 6 inches. If you underperform, you're going to get like an inch to a dusting. DMV, how much snow? Man, a dusting to 2 inches is looking like the most realistic right now. Appreciate the follows, appreciate the subs. 1 second, guys. One second. Un momento. 1 second, guys. Sorry, doing something. Okay. Almost done, almost done. Sorry. I'm in southeast Nebraska. Absolutely brutal. Are you guys getting some good snow there right now? We have some snow moving through southeastern Nebraska. We have some okay snow. It looks like moving through Omaha right now. Anyone in Omaha right now? It looks like we've got some good snow or about to move through Omaha. So, yeah. I'm looking at radar Omega on my other screen. It looks like we got some good snow falling through southeastern Nebraska, northern Kansas, headed towards Kansas City right now. Kansas City might have an overperformance based on where our snow is right now. So, let me go back up here. Check GFS, March 4th. Yeah, I mean, Christian, our best snow model 4 days out, the Euro showed a nor'easter, and look at it now. And you want me to look at the GFS from March 4th and believe it? Yeah, way too far out. No, but there is a signal because our experimental model sees something around that time too. So does the Euro. So there's something to it. I'll give you that. There's something to it. So yeah, here I'll show you guys. you know, our experimental model sees a massive nor'easter, obviously, at the end of February. Not impossible, and this would be a massive southern snowstorm, too. I mean, this would be big snow, potentially, through Atlanta, Charlotte, and Nashville, and all that stuff. But way too far out. Let's look at our, but again, we're going to have a cold pattern. Kimber, I appreciate that. Level up, Sparks. Kimber, thank you. So, 18Z GFS, I'll show you guys this real quick. I'll show you real quick. Hold up. Hold up. All right. End of the run. Yeah. So, you know, here we go. Big plunge of cold air. Snow pushing down into the mid-Atlantic again. I mean, I think we're going to have this cold air troughing occurring around that time out east, but I don't know about the snowfall. This would be a big Midwestern blizzard. We can kind of compare models. Our 18Z is loading right here on our Euro. Still, ooh, that's actually much farther south, I believe. 1 second. And shift it south a little bit in the 18Z of the Euro. But GFS sees this cold troughing pattern out east too. You can see here, keeping consistent cold air moving into here. And then big plunge of cold air here, beginning of March, similar to what the GFS sees and what the CFS sees, and then it also sees the same thing here as the GFS. Big Arctic blast down here, pushing down into Texas, potentially big snow through the Midwest, and this would potentially lead to more snow through here as well. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff happening at the end of February and March. Our winter's expected to continue, and I think we're gonna continue to see chances for snow through a lot of these areas still. A lot of it has to do with the kind of delayed cold surface air that we're going to get from our stratospheric polar vortex stretch and split. Would that cold air be as cold as it is right now in Minnesota? I mean, the 18Z is loading a little bit slow. This is going to show good snow for Tennessee now. You know, here's our wind chills from our Euro, and this is pretty close. So it's pretty realistic. I mean, it sees Minneapolis wind chills getting down into potentially approaching -30 to -35 degrees. Yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch of cold major troughs that want to push in. You can see one after another continuing. So we're going to be active, and I think, you know, this type of setup would potentially put a major tornado outbreak down in the southeast again, but we'll see. I don't want to get too ahead. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves yet. We're getting ahead of ourselves. I think tomorrow I'm doing a March outlook, so any chance for a shift north? There still is, yeah. We have more of a chance of a tornado right now than snow. This snow system. This is Tuesday to Thursday event. Show you what the NAM thinks here. For people who are just joining, actually wants to keep some snow into coastal mid-Atlantic. Washington D.C. prediction. A dusting to 2 inches. 1 to 2, I think, is possible. What does the Euro say for temps at the end of the run? Well, it's not going to be that accurate all the way at the end of the run, but it just continues to plunge well below average air. I mean, we can look at our temperature anomalies really quickly. Look at this. And then very cold out east again. You can see it there on the right side. Huge. I mean, this is out east. This is 10 to 30 degrees below average out east again, and that's into March. So, I mean, it's still putting this, 20 to 30 degrees below average air into the central region and east, and then potentially even west into March. So, which is, again, we know what's happening with our stratospheric polar vortex. We are entering. Oh, this is important, guys. I haven't even gone over this with you. I have not gone over this with you. Um, we are entering phase 8 of the MJO. Phase 8 and phase 1. Again, we know what this looks like for the East Coast historically. What this historically looks like for the East Coast, let me get into, is cooler conditions, more troughing out here through the east. So, and we have a cold surface air lagging event from our stratospheric split. So again, it's, you know, when we're looking at all our models and they continue to show troughing out east, it just matches up with what you would expect with historically what we would see. MJO phase 8, phase 1, and what's going on with what's been going on with our stratospheric polar vortex. It just makes sense. Teleconnections see it too, see a drop. See our AO and NAO going negative, getting into March as well. So that's why you're seeing these continued bursts of well below average air wanting to funnel into the east as we get into March. And the continued chance for snow out there. Central New Jersey's gypped once again. It's not just Central New Jersey. Long Island, New York City, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. It's happening to everyone. It's this whole stretch here. This stretch right here, this entire area. This is going to be the third time this year where about 4 days out, we saw all the globals agreeing on massive snow for this stretch right here. And all 3 times the snow collapses south. It's going to be the third time this year. So, yeah, Central New Jersey, Northern New Jersey, Long Island, New York City, Southern Connecticut, Rhode Island, the Cape, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Philadelphia's only got like 5-6 inches this year. So it's happened to everyone. Philadelphia's gotten nothing. Appreciate the follows, appreciate the subs. Did you see the CFS, Connor? Said there's a chance. Yes. Yeah. The CFS. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have the right type of troughing pattern. Hold on to hope. Yeah. How much snow do you think I will get? I think Long Island's going to end up getting a little bit of snow from this, a couple inches, because I think our snow shield's going to be a little bit farther off into the north and west, but we'll see. All the short ranges like a little bit of snow back into Long Island with this, but the globals don't. The globals keep it offshore. Yeah, our 18Z is loading. We can see what the 18Z Euro likes for Tennessee. I got to get off here in a little bit. I got a lot of work I got to do to get ready for tomorrow. So, but let me show this. Let me show the 18Z loading in. Oh, my son is screaming. Oh my gosh, the Euro absolutely just did a horrible job 5 days out. Look at that. I still think the Euro is wrong about how tight and compressed this snow is. When we look at our 500 millibar height, there's just too much energy up here for I think that to be compressed that much, guys. We've got a lot going on through here. That's going to be being pulled around. So, you know, I don't completely agree with the Euro crushing that snow down to the south, but here's the most updated totals from our 18Z Euro. Still wanting to put 3 to 4 inches into Nashville, actually. Virginia Beach, it's still liking 5 to 7 inches down there. I think this is going to overperform though. I'm ignoring about Texas and Louisiana. What's your question about Texas and Louisiana? If you're asking snow questions, I haven't addressed snow questions in Texas and Louisiana because there's no chance, unless you're right on the border of northern Texas, of getting a little bit of a dusting. I mean, quantitative precipitation, We're going to have rain to the south of the snow. So you can get a decent amount of rainfall. Southern Louisiana, southeastern Texas, inch or two. Not expected to be severe. Just rain. So nothing crazy going on down there. There's a chance for light snow in northern Georgia, but not really expect it. Again, though, moving forward, we have a very active cold and snowy outlook still moving forward, especially for the central and eastern U.S. We can see there's a reason we're seeing this cold air and this snow constantly pushing through the east, where we're seeing just storm after storm moving through like this. Because, again, we have cold air that's still lagging from that stratospheric polar vortex event, and we're entering phase 8, phase 1 of the MJO. That favors troughing out here. That favors cold air out here. So we're not in any way, a lot of people are like, this is our last chance. We're getting into spring. We're not getting into spring quite yet. We're going to have a lot of winter activity, I think, at least for the next 4 weeks, especially for the central and eastern U.S. Climate Prediction Center tends to agree with me. Still keeping it average to below average out here all the way through the end of February. Now, again, and I've been speaking about this. I've said it a million times. I expect potentially end of February, early March, we could see a quick warm-up, but then it looks like we're going to have major troughing returning out here. And I think we're going to have a positive PNA look, meaning we're going to be a little bit warmer here, a little bit colder here. So we're going to see some interesting things on our globals moving forward here with what's going to happen at the end of February and early March. Wow, this actually tilts way farther up the coast now on the Euro. That's interesting. I got to get off. I got a lot of work to do for work tomorrow. Maddie, I appreciate you. Donna, Vav, Bree. Appreciate anyone who's gifted, followed, subs. Obviously, being in here helps. So just spending some time with me. I did post an update on all this stuff today on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. So if I didn't answer your question, I might have answered it in my video. If not, you can. It's so hard for me to. I try to answer. I used to try to answer every comment on my videos, and I just literally don't have time to anymore because I'm so busy. I wish I did. I'll get some help. I'll be hopefully building a team to help me with that eventually. So. But I appreciate you guys. I usually would get back on later at night. Again, I just have a lot of stuff going on for work tomorrow, but I will be back on. I'll be posting again updates tomorrow, and I will be live streaming again tomorrow like I do every single night, like I post every single day. So I appreciate you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.